Hello, good afternoon. Senator Sterle, over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Chair. Hello, Mr Crawford. Now, how long have you been the acting CEO?
3 months, almost.
How long are you going to be acting for?
I'm afraid I can't answer that question.
Oh, okie doke. All right. Okay. Well, I'll put the question to you, but I think I might need Mr Atkinson back maybe, or someone might be able to help me. Can you provide an update on the selection of the CEO? Are you able to do that, Mr Crawford?
I'm afraid I'm not able to do that.
I didn't think so.
I'm one of the candidates. So
yeah, that's right. So,
Senator, the update I can provide you is that the process is progressing and that it's between the chair and the chair of the CASA board and the minister.
Who's the chair of the CASA board now?
Mr Tony Matthews.
Okay, so just remind me when Mr Carmody officially left?
I think it was the last day of 2020.
Yes, the 31st.
2020. So we've got it 3 months.
Yep.
Why is it taking so long?
It's complex, no, not complex,
No,
important decision. It's an important process.
I'm sure there's many capable people around, so I don't
want to do anything to prejudice the process that's underway, Senator.
Process and ultimately will be considered by Cabinet for final decision.
Well, Minister, you and I have been around this committee a long, long time. We do know how important it is, but how long does it normally take to replace the CEO? Can anyone tell me there?
Senator, I'd be guessing at previous timeframes.
It would vary, Senator.
Sorry?
It would vary depending on the decision.
Have we had one go this long?
I believe Shane Carmody acted for about 6 months before he was appointed.
Okay.
Just if that's a...
All right, no names, no factual. How many candidates are there?
Oh, Senator, I didn't bring that level of detail. I'm sorry, I didn't...
That's all right. You can take it on notice. I just want to know. So is there a line in the sand when a decision will be made to anyone's knowledge?
Well, obviously we would like to resolve it, but we have a very capable acting DAS at the moment, Mr Crawford.
Well, don't tell me that. Tell the Minister that so he can get on with it.
Yes,
Pretty
Senator.
easy, and the Chair.
Yes, Senator.
There you go. I've just spelt the death knell to your career. I hope you do get it. All right, no one knows. Okay, that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thanks, Senator Sterle. Look, I've just got a couple of questions about a case that's just been completed in the Mount Isa Supreme Court, in the Supreme Court, but held in Mount Isa. Let's see if I'm going to be able to find it. Here we go. Judge Henry said that he dismissed the jury, telling them that the case had been dropped. This is the Josh Hock case. Telling the case had been dropped. He said evidence linking Mr Hock to the alleged crimes was lacking. It would be officially concluded it was not sufficient to pursue a case. So that was a case that was scheduled to go for 3 weeks and went for 3 days. After a 120,000-page brief of evidence, but they didn't have enough evidence to get past 3 days. I understand that the police have been collecting evidence for CASA's trial against Mr Hock. How is your confidence in your case now that that has just been thrown out after such a short amount of time? And the judge was scathing in his comments.
So my understanding is you're correct that the Queensland Police case was essentially, they settled earlier, or they didn't proceed. The CASA case, as far as I'm aware, is still proceeding. I might ask Jonathan Alec to come up and expand on that.
Thank you, Chair. Jonathan Alec, Executive Manager at Legal International Regulatory Affairs. This was a prosecution by the Queensland prosecutorial authorities. The charges that were dismissed involved a matter that wasn't specifically subject to CASA's involvement. This involved tampering with aircraft and some ambiguities about what was or wasn't shown on films. There were, I think, over 300 charges initially laid against Mr. Hock, many of them stemming from activities that do relate much more directly to CASA's remit. We were confident when we submitted the brief to the prosecutor. The prosecutor remains confident that these matters will proceed more successfully, if that's the right term.
Mr Hock's been left with, I think at best estimates, probably over $300,000 worth of legal bills with no recourse to anybody for a trial that has now been completely tossed out. I hope that CASA will be considering the strength of its case, because I feel very uncomfortable that somebody who has been found to have no case to answer has been left destitute.
Well,
And we hear time after time about CASA pursuing cases that leave people without a home, without their parents having a home. I'm just flagging to you that it would be timely to consider the evidence that may have been collected by, I believe, by the police in this
yes, Chair,
case.
Whether the case proceeds or not is not a matter for CASA, it's a matter for the prosecutor. And they won't query us except if they make a decision to go forward or not go forward. And they would make their decision based on the evidence and their confidence in success. We don't prosecute cases, that's a misconception. We submit briefs to the prosecutor then has complete discretion as to whether or not to go forward.
All right. An interesting question for, I guess this is potentially more for the police, but, CASA it applies as well. What it costs you to put forward these kind of evidence collecting for a prosecutor to take forward. Do you feel comfortable that the amount of time and effort you're taking to pursue some of these cases is reasonable and that the outcomes are reasonable?
By and large, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Certainly in this case, we would. There are some very serious charges were laid and some very serious issues were raised in this case.
Of which he's been found to not have a case to answer. $300,000 at least
That
is
part
the estimate.
I can't speak to because we weren't involved in that, but that's one part of a much larger case. There are state proceedings and Commonwealth issues as well. Sorry, the same proceedings, but they're Commonwealth offences and state offences.
But the Queensland Police collected the evidence for both.
They were involved in much of it, but so were our investigators as well.
Okay. If you're satisfied, Mr. Alec, then, Dr. Alec, I'm sorry, then off we will continue, but I'm just feeling just horrified for this person. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of legal fees, a case that's been thrown out, and I just hope that you have good grounds for proceeding and that they are reasonable and fair, because I think this is an Australian who has been treated
Well, I'm hopeful and confident that the case that CASA was involved in won't be thrown out, but that remains to be seen.
And we believe it is reasonable and fair.
Hey?
We believe it is reasonable and fair from what
You
we
believe it
under-
is reasonable and fair?
Yeah, and that's our position at the moment.
Yeah. I don't have any more questions for CASA. Do you have any more questions, Senator Sterle? Thank you. Please go with our thanks.
Thank you.